Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and dive into the imagery of this card, starting by looking at the Rider-Waite-Smith card. Okay, so if you have your own Rider-Waite-Smith deck, go ahead and take that out. And then if you have another deck that you prefer to use, go ahead and grab that card too. All right, and pause the video if you need a little more time to look at this. Okay, so one of the first things that I notice, of course, is that this person is upside down. It doesn't seem like they are very upset about being upside down, though. If you look at the face, which you might be able to see better on your own deck, the face looks very calm, okay? The face looks very content, doesn't really seem like they are struggling, and that is the exact energy of this card. So whenever this person is hanging upside down, they are able to see things from a different perspective. Okay, they are hanging from this tree, and this tree is reaching upwards. Like, we can't even see the ground, right? So this tree is reaching upwards, suggesting this ability to reach these higher realms, to be able to really reach up and being able to reach up ourselves, okay? Of course, we do have this greenery coming off of the tree here, and any kind of greenery in the tarot cards usually represents some kind of growth, okay? So to me, this kind of suggests that this situation is going to lead to a growth phase eventually. Now, there's not really a whole lot of greenery around the person, so I wouldn't really say that the growth is happening at the exact same time. It's more a promise of growing from something that's already happened or growing into something that's going to happen, okay? So whenever I see the crossed leg, I think about being at a crossroads, okay? Not really sure where to go, not really sure what to do, how to act, any of that, okay? So this person might be a little confused, right? Because this person is tied to the tree, it means that they might feel a little stuck. They might feel a little stuck, a little controlled, maybe a little confined to their space, right? It's almost like they're not really sure how to move away from that, okay? Because the head is pointing downward, this is going to suggest a connection to the material world. Even though we can't see the ground, this person is connected to the material world while also seemingly reaching up into the spiritual realms, okay? You know, again, the facial expression is relaxed, but we can notice this little halo around there, right? So this halo suggests some sort of higher learning and enlightenment. So for a moment, I want to go back to the Fool's Journey, okay? And I'm going to be resharing that video again, a link to it on YouTube from the LHC. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out, that will be over on my Empress of Wands page later on today. So whenever I think about this card in reference to the Fool's Journey, depending on what kind of deck you have, the Fool has just either met justice or met strength, okay? And then that's whenever the Hanged Man happens, okay? So the Fool encounters something that they weren't ready for, essentially. Either something that they had to be strong through or something that they had to learn what their responsibility was in the situation and learn that energy of cause and effect, right? So with that might cause someone to take a step back or not really know what to do or feeling confused, you know, things like that. So that's where we're at with the Hanged Man, all right? So with that energy, that's exactly what this card means. Whenever I pull this card upright in a reading, I always think about this need to let go, this need to surrender to the process, and this need to find a way to pause and rest, okay? Whenever I pull this card for myself, I see it as a sign that I need to take a step back, you know, and really look at the things that are going on in my life. Honestly, this card is kind of perfect for Mabon season coming up, you know, fall is coming, all of those things. It's a time to take a step back and surrender to the process. We can't fight against the changing of the seasons. So why do we continue to fight against these things in our lives? Okay, not saying that there aren't things to fight for, because there are, but a lot of times we fight against things that we have no control over. So what if we decided instead to take a step back, find contentment, and surrender to the process? Let things unfold as they are going to unfold, as much as possible anyway. Sometimes this can represent this need to break old patterns, let go of old belief systems, things like that. Almost like letting everything fall away and then seeing what's still around whenever we're done, okay? Now, if I pull this reversed, even though we can see the man a little bit better, right? This person on the card, I don't really want to include gender in here, even though it is the Hanged Man. I have another deck that calls it the Hanged One, and I like that one much better. You know, even though the person seems upright here, this card represents not being able to let go, hanging on to things that we don't need to hang on to, this stuck, stagnant feeling, right? Repeating old patterns instead of letting them go, stalling out, resisting change, things like that, okay? So whenever I pull this card in a reading, I always ask the person if they are stuck in something, if they feel stuck, if they're not sure where to go, because then we can pull cards to see how they're going to get themselves unstuck, okay? So some correspondences for this card, of course, the element of water. Zodiac sign is Pisces, and the planet is Neptune. So if we think about Neptune, Neptune is a planet of flow, right? Of seeing these illusions, okay? And not illusions like being stuck in an illusion, but more illusions and being able to find the truth and then working through that, okay? Very in line with that Neptune energy. Now, if you were asking a timing question and you pull this card, this is going to represent not really knowing the timing, okay? Whether it's upright or reversed. It's going to be very much about depending on where we're at, okay? What we're doing, how we are going to move through it, okay? So I want to show y'all another card. This is from the Light Seers Tarot deck, one of my absolute favorite decks. What I love about this one is that it really depicts this idea of letting go, okay? This idea of figuring out how to let go. You know, they're just kind of hanging there. It looks like they're having some fun, quite honestly, like having some acrobatic fun. But being able to let go and just kind of let everything fall into place. So for our shadow work prompts for this card, I want you to think about a situation that you're currently in that you're not really feeling able to let go of. What is keeping you holding on? Is it a person, a place, a thing? Is it something inside of you that's telling you to hold on? What is it? What would happen if instead you decided to let that thing go? And I'm not saying throw it away, especially if it's a person, right? I'm not saying completely leave someone, but I am saying what would happen if you let go of the grip that you have on them? Because a lot of times whenever I think about the card reversed, I think about us having a grip on something, okay? Just holding it tightly, right? And it's like we want it so badly that we're going to hold on to it so tightly. But the thing about holding on to something so tightly is that we're going to suffocate it. So instead of suffocating it, what if we could just hold it in our hand? And I feel like that is the energy of the card upright. Being able to hold whatever it is in our hand so that it can move about our hand freely. It can grow, it can change, it can evolve, and we're not going to suffocate it. Another shadow work prompt for you. What is something in the past that you have held on to so tightly that it suffocated? And how did you grow from that experience? Like, how did you move forward from that? Or have you been able to move forward from that? I have many friends who have relationships like that. You know, they've held on to these relationships so tightly for so long that the relationship has essentially suffocated. So how can you move through that and maybe unclench your hand just a little bit, right? Maybe just make it more like a claw and see how that helps. Okay, so let me glance over my notes and just make sure I did not miss anything. Oh yes, and this card is associated with the crown chakra. Body parts are all about sleep, all about anything relating to sleep, as well as hydration, okay? So that kind of lends to the water attribution to this card as well. And whenever I pull this card, whether it's upright or reversed in a reading, if it's a yes or no reading, then I definitely see this as more of a maybe. And it's all dependent on if we can choose to take a step back and let the process unfold, or if we are going to hold on to it too tightly. So, all right, y'all, let me know if you have any questions or anything, and I will get back to y'all as soon as I can. Either way, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.